it's James, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this past 2 weeks, from the 20th of February to the 4th of March. And first, hold on. This happened. Just wanted you to get used to that. I didn't want to just jump scare you. It's a big change, I know. I literally had like this exact pair, I think the entire time I've had Digest, so if that doesn't tell you the beginning and the end, I don't know what does. Sorry. Now, I didn't do Digest last week because I was very depressed. I didn't have a good vibe going into it, and I have to tell you, we're not there yet. Spoilers, we're not there yet. I'm gonna start with a reaction video from clearandsweet, posting this for his, which birthday was it? It was, he had the idea for it 10 years ago. I think you said it was for one of your birthdays. I don't want to say which birthday it is off the top of my head. I don't want to guess in case you're like, no, I think it's in your 30s. I want to say that, at least. But anyway, it's called Fear Not This Night, Madoka Magica AMV. Yay. And I usually get like content ID to high heaven when I do these, because of course I do. So I'm going to be very specific about the use of audio. Anyway. Nice. I've never heard this song, of course, which is my favorite kind of AMV. Ooh, was that a mask? I have no idea because Madoka could do all this crazy shit, you know? Yeah. I can tell there's definitely some cool editing in this. It's just really hard for me to parse because there's so much crazy stuff that Madoka does as a show, you know? It's sort of a slow plodding kind of song. It's got a momentum to it. But the pacing is kind of like, the editing is rapid with it, which is nice. I like that the song. The sing's good. That's good. Nice, good imagery with the song. And I think the regalness of this song, I don't know how gorgeous the instrumentation is really complementing the stylization of the show. That's great with the ding 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 with the rain and everything. I'm sorry I keep making observations that are so obvious. Like, yeah, I definitely did that thing. I certainly matched the anime to the music. That's what I'm talking about with how much rapid fire imagery is happening. That seemed, yeah. There's something specifically really complicated there, but I couldn't quite catch it. It's hard for me to appreciate a lot of the edits, I think, because again, with the show being that it's being edited to, that definitely I can tell is an edit. That's awesome looking. I also just wonder how much of this is from like the movies. Some of this has got to be from the movies. That's lovely. Congrats on getting that out of your head. I know what that's like when you have an AMV, when you're listening to a song casually, and then the anime just kind of comes to your mind as you're listening to it, and you're like, oh no. That feeling, I have that so often, and that's a lot of my AMVs for sure. And then you're right, we're like getting an opportunity to make it and like kicking it down the road and everything, but 10 years is a long time. That's crazy, but that's lovely. Yeah, there was a lot of niceties to that, with just, it didn't feel super hyper specific, and it also didn't feel as show spanning, you know, like a summary. I'm guilty of that with my AMVs, of the AMVs kind of being a summary or a distillation of the series, or of the movie or whatever, and you're literally kind of editing it chronologically, just timing it to the music or whatever. But that one seems a lot more, this one seems a lot more comprehensive. in a way that like you're getting everything, but you're not like summarizing it, like, and then this beat happens and then this beat happens kind of deal. It just feels like a nice cohesion to it. And you've analyzed the series in such close detail, as you link at the end here, that I'm sure you have such an intimacy with the material that you know which shots you want to use at what points and what matters, and the compactness of everything. Yeah, I think if anyone had never seen Madoka Magica before and saw this, it would totally, like, what? You get the whole vibe of it. You definitely get the best of it, really. Yeah, that was lovely. I really enjoyed that. And not like I haven't seen Madoka in a very long time, in a way that like I really think I hope I would enjoy it. I hope, more. I guess for me, like when I don't know if I ever voiced it really, but like when I initially watched it, it ended up being just really confusing. But I binged it in like an evening. I decided to start watching it at like 10 p.m. or something, and it was like a long night of like then I went to bed at like 5 or something, and so it wasn't really the best environment to watch that series in, but I still don't want to binge it. I don't know how and what method. I still have to watch the movies too, so yeah, I did enjoy that distillation, that rendition of it, I guess is a way to put it. Yeah, it was really nice. Great job. What I was getting to with my little rant at the beginning of why I didn't do Digest last time, I felt pretty discouraged. There didn't seem to be a ton of videos that I was super enthused to click on, and the ones that I was interested to click on ended up being kind of, I guess we'll talk some videos that I thought were decent, but I don't have too much. But I just I've been wanting to bring up the fact that Trixie is unretired and is back to making anime content, like just as a thing. I watched her initial update video and talking about it and her plan about these 24 anime videos that she's already kind of been cooking or is cooking, basically. And that's super cool and exciting. It is, it's got the exact same energy as Miyazaki announcing unretirement and you're back, and it's like, oh, I was very at peace in my heart that you were done, but I guess you're not. Okay, like, all right. And yes, I am comparing Trixie to Miyazaki in this instance because she's such a huge influence on all of us, and it was always really important. And she really is back in such a form that's like, oh yeah, this is what we would watch back in 2016, 2017. The two videos I was checking, and neither of these, one of them is the traditional video essays that she's talking about, is the heroic antagonists in anime. My screen being blocked by whatever. And this one, and I want to talk about both of these because I just want to. I'm sorry. The other one is what came out this week, which is Otaku USA is still publishing in 2024, and I was fascinated by both of these, obviously, for a creator I look up to a lot and still do. And I don't think either of these videos were bad in any capacity, but they were. It's just like, okay. Here now to get to talking about them. There really was. It was weird with the heroic antagonist one. It didn't feel like Trixie went into any real depth with anything. It's just like, this is a thing. It's like, yeah, I guess. It didn't have anything super substantive about it. And just besides the fact of just bringing them up and kind of linking these sorts of things together. And I don't know. I feel like for those of us who are still interested in anime analysis, we're looking for something that takes a little bit more time than just kind of rusty. It feels like this is like the laurels of out of the things that you've seen. And you say at the end where it's like you kind of exhaust your completed list, it seems, or even, I don't know, you're dropped or whatever. You exhaust your current knowledge of heroic antagonists, and this is the kind of what's available. including, and I'm obviously like excited that you bring up Tensei Senshi Sunred, but even just then, like, I can tell you're only sourcing from the first episode in terms of footage because I've edited for that series. I know that footage, and you just kind of bring it up that like it's a thing, it exists. It's like, okay, what does it add? What is it? What's new about it? Like, you don't really. I don't even know if you bring up. I could be mischaracterizing your video, and I apologize. I saw it last week, but like, did you bring up Vamp? Did you bring up General Vamp and like what his characterization is? The fact that he is such a nice guy. Like, he has this like world domination everything, but he is a sweet person and like really caring, and that's the fact that his character is actually a really sweet guy but is an antagonist is something like that's. But you just kind of, I don't even know if you bring up his name, you know what I mean, or could have brought up an instance somewhere in the series itself that demonstrate like the fact that he has such an admiration for Sunred, like for his adversary that's beating him. And like, one of my favorite scenes in the whole show, I still remember it. I haven't fucking touched this show since I watched it in like 2016, like 2015, 2016. Yeah. There's an episode where they're trying to shop around for other bad guys for Sunred to beat, and they're looking for a particular weakness, and he's like, what's like a weakness you have? And they're just workshopping this at like a table or whatever, and he's like, I'm weak to you, because he's annoying because he's so prodding and everything. He just kind of says it casually, and then his vampire is like like it's so fucking, it's really cute and like funny, and he's like, not like that, and like that shit gets to me. It's so funny. I would have wanted examples like that, ample examples, but it just kind of felt like you were going through the mail and just like, yeah, I know that, yeah, that's a thing, but there's not much substance to it. We're not learning more about anything, and that does require some work on your end, and this is work. I get that, but it was disappointing. It's disappointing. That's all I guess I'm saying. And you know, and the video is edited just like fine, I guess. And I'm not expecting something crazy big, whatever. But it's just sort of like, all right, that's just me as someone who's also now making videos and go in my own depth or whatever like that. I get it, but I'm excited that she's back, and that's why I want to talk about them. But like, I just want more, I guess. But then this other one, this was a little more depressing for me, because, and I liked the video. I watched all of it. You know, I didn't hate it. It didn't make me pull my hair out. But I was listening. I was like, I think I could watch this while cleaning my room, folding my laundry, and doing the chores I have to do, because I put them off so much. And it's a very long video, like 28 minutes. And she's going through the whole magazine, and talking about it. It feels like, well, it's pretty much 2 takes because her camera battery dies out partway through. And I'm not expecting anything super huge or like video essay type whatever, because I know the expectations going in. But there was a moment I realized that I am watching. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch this for Digest. I want to see if I'm interested in talking about it. And I'm talking about this right now. I just found it a little depressing that I am making a video about Trixie making a video about this magazine that nobody reads. It was like, this magazine, this completely outdated, kind of sad format. Trixie's making content about this magazine, this magazine that seems like it's completely like a but at least the magazine is a physical, tangible object and like is in stores or whatever. But this is like a YouTube video. I can't like just 1 or 2 takes of Trixie and her casual thoughts about the magazine. And now I am making a digest about the video about the and like that kind of, it just trivialized it to where like I got really, really down and depressed about it. And I'm still, but I'm still talking, I'm still doing that to make this point. That like, I don't, this is just kind of realizing what I'm doing, I guess. It's like the self-awareness almost. Because the point, I mean, the function of Digest is to talk about these videos, but I'm realizing I really want to do more. I really want to do more valuable stuff than this, is what I'm saying. But I still want to do this. I'm still putting it, putting up the series because it has other. This is not the only video I'm talking about. That's fine, but it got me to realize it, and I don't want to bury that. I do want to like, oh, this is a thing that happened to me, and that like, this is a part of it. Because there's plenty of Digests where like I just it would be boring or anything, but this, I don't know, because this isn't, I don't know. So yeah, that got me pretty down, to be honest. The video was fine. And I think Trixie is making salient enough points and everything. But it did get me thinking about that in a rough way, I guess. Anyway, not to put Trixie down in on what she's doing either. Which I apologize if it comes off that way. I am really encouraged and excited. I'm just hoping and excited for more, or just for a for more from the not like more videos, more from the videos is what I would frame that as, I guess. This is more of an honorable mention, unfortunately. It's a Ryu Token video, everything you need to know about Kinnikuman, before Kinnikuman, the 2024 series that's coming out, which is starting from the 2011 series of Kinnikuman, which itself has a whole other, there's an almost, it's a particular thing. 4-hour video. And it was this, and like, I had only just decided that like I didn't really want to do Digest last week when this dropped that day, and I was like, fuck you. Like, I can't. And especially because I've been late on Digest so much. I'm not late this time. I am not late this time. Let's fucking go. And I made sure, because this was the first video I watched in the morning, I was like, I'm making sure I'm getting that, like, freaking hell. And I'm trying to be smart with my time, where, yeah, I unfortunately couldn't spend the entire time watching this video. I did not finish it. What I did watch so it's divided into 4 parts, although the second part is the reason it's 4 hours. The first part is about 24 minutes, and it's the entire origin story of Yude Tamago, the author duo behind Kinnikuman. It's great. That's fantastic. It's what I was expecting, or what I was hoping for, and what I more than I got, actually. It was really great. And then the third part is after Kinnikuman. So they had a number of serializations post Kinnikuman that they tried and failed, didn't really get as much success, or they kind of got burnt out on manga. And then there's a bit of a drama with getting back into Kinnikuman, but it's a Shueisha property, and one of the editors like seems to try to blacklist them at one point because they were trying to, but it's their journey with writing the series as a serialization, as an IP, where they finished it. It was a done manga. They finished it, went on to other things, and then went back to the series. And so like there's Nisei, which is a sequel effectively, which is a first to one shot, and all this information is in part 3 and 4, and that's great. And that totals like 40 minutes, I want to say. Like the first part was definitely about 24 minutes, and then the third and fourth parts are another 20-ish, 30 minutes maybe. It's 4 hours because he summarizes the original Kinnikuman. It's a summary. I'm sorry. I watched about an hour. It was up to the hour mark where he finishes summarizing the first Chojin tournament arc, where he first meets Ramen Mask and Robin, and not Robin Mask. That's Nisei's character. Frick. Is it Robin? No. It's all right. Kevin Mask is Nisei. Robin Mask is original, right? Yeah, so the tournament where they meet Ramen Man, not even Mask. Sorry, shows you I haven't really watched it. I've seen Nisei. I've watched Nisei because I did the closed captions for it. So yeah, I know Nisei a lot more, and you didn't really do anything with Nisei. You kind of just talk about what Nisei is in terms of this, like, oh, it was a one shot at first, and then they did this, and it was an interesting story because I didn't know any of this, of course. Nisei, there's an arc that the anime doesn't adapt, where they go back in time, and while they were back in time, and it was like in a kind of a midpoint almost, it seems, of the original Kinnikuman run. At that point, they just decided, you know what? Fuck this Nisei shit. Well, let's just focus. Let's just do Kinnikuman and just like keep it going in this different direction. And now it's gone much longer and everything. No, I don't know if it's much longer, but like longer. It's kept going. They just found a way to keep doing Kinnikuman that way, and that stretch is what's getting adapted this year into anime. And so that explanation was great, but like it did not need to be 4 hours of literally its plot summary. I know don't get me wrong, I know there's analysis in there. I know there's some insights about, you know, the creative process of making the manga from Yude Tamako's perspective. All that's great. Yeah, absolutely. But it's plot summary. I'm sorry. And I watched like about 40 minutes of it summarizing the first arc, and I was like, I was actually wanting to watch Kinnikuman at some point, and now I'm spoiled on the completely on, especially with the being a tournament arc. Like the first arc, there's a bunch of marks, that it's a little episodic, and there's Gai Kotsuman, the skeleton guy. Like, yeah, I knew about that much because I tried reading like the first couple of chapters, and the scans are terrible. I do want to watch the Toei anime mainly, which I appreciated that you used a lot of footage from. But then like when you summarize a tournament, you give it all away. You give it all away. Not just like who faces who, but the execution of the fights and like how they resolve themselves, And so I was like, I'm vaguely familiar, at least because I've seen Nisei. Nisei is nothing but fights and tournaments. It really isn't. It's just anything but everything but that. This maybe some whatever. And so I know Kinnikuman's going to do that. So I know you're just pretty much going to be doing that for the next 3 hours. I want to watch it myself, actually. Sorry, so I didn't watch the rest of it. And yeah, that's. And I'm not poo-pooing making a giant 4-hour video. That's cool. And like it's an enjoyable process to make something like this. And I'm sure no one's really done this for Kinnikuman specifically, unlike probably tens of many channels doing this for Naruto and One Piece and et cetera, et cetera. Like I'm happy that this exists in this format, if this is what people wanted. But I guess I just feel like there's a really fantastic video in this, but it's surrounded by take it or leave it kind of like, here, watch this video instead of watching the original Kinnikuman, so you can just watch 2011. And I know you say at the beginning that this is not meant to be a real replacement, but come on, dude. What did you make? Look at it. And I can't, and I'm sorry that I can't fully like, you made that because I didn't watch a whole chunk of it. Maybe you don't summarize the entirety of Kinnikuman. I have a feeling you did. I have a sneaking suspicion. And I'm not trying to make that out to be some cardinal sin or something like that. Like this is a trope in a video I hate, and every time I see it, I hate it immediately. Like I get it within context if it's good within context. Yeah, but that's just my feelings on that. I will also say, and then there's multiple people in the video that commented this, and so I don't want to harp on it really that much, but yeah, the audio mixing could have been better to make your voice a bit louder in the mix of the video. I like the song choices for what it's worth, but I think it's because of your lower register and the way that you were narrating. It just kind of gets buried and so I have to like really hyper focus and pay attention, and so I'm not enjoying the music that you're putting in there, right? Because it's an obstacle to what you're saying. It's not a compliment, so it ends up just getting in the way, and yeah, which is unfortunate, because again, I do like the music choices in this, but yeah, I sorry to harp on that with everyone else doing it, but the rest of this was, from what I saw, fantastic in terms of just like valuable information to understand what happened here what the situation with Kinnikuman is as an adaptation. I think is great. Could have been condensed, I think, but and also just like more complicated, because I know you've with your previous videos you've talked a lot about the delinquent OVA stuff. I really liked how you used that stuff and not even really acknowledging what series it's from or whatever, to visually represent the story of these two authors in their middle school and high school years. All of that, like the visuals for this, great, like really great. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I liked the video a good deal. Unfortunately, I didn't watch all of it because I do want to watch Kinnikuman at some point. I haven't yet. We'll get into it. Like I ate a lot of Battle Shonen in the year 2021, and I'm just getting through other genres that I'm interested in, and I'll come back around, and yeah, I'll definitely get to it. But yeah, I enjoyed the video though. There was a live stream that my boss was a part of. Animego has been bought by Media OCD, and it's a friendly conversation with this guy iCritic that I think Justin seems to know prior, or they've both been in the older scene for a little longer than YouTube's been around, like back in the day, and they mostly talked about that. Like I don't want to exaggerate. I guess it feels like a lot of that, which is great. It's a perspective that I don't have, and plenty of people on YouTube don't have. So I like hearing this a lot. But it was a very nice. It was just lovely hearing from both of them and their perspectives, and Justin talking about buying the company and everything like that. And there isn't that much in the way that I gleaned out of it that was new, because he's been telling me about this stuff and telling me more that he can't say on a public forum and I can't say yet. Right. But yeah, of course. But I just figure I'd toss it your guys' way, because this is a big deal. I am an employee at Animego, basically. It's Media OCD, and we own Whole Grain Pictures and Animego as a company. We're still working with the previous founders with their Kickstarters. They're still running with that, but a lot of it's on us now, so it's really, really exciting, and a big new venture and fun thing. So I've been wanting to bring that up, and I think this is great. So Hayden has a second channel, and I don't think I've talked about any of their videos on the second channel. It's just uploads of stuff, not like video essays or anything. And they uploaded Osamu Tezuki's Rose of Versailles interview that I don't think I've seen. I might have at some point, but I don't remember it. So I just okay, let me just and I was interested, and I wanted to talk about it for like that. I don't think I've mentioned that Hayden has been uploading all this sporadic interviews and extras and random stuff. It's not been it's just been a lot of like grab bag things that's just like kind of interesting, and then I think you should subscribe. No, like it's but it's cool. But also just like the editing of this featurette, of this interview. I've been making these for our discs lately, and it's just really interesting seeing this, or just how it's conducted, and then like how it's being edited as well. I guess some of it was interesting. Like they start with like a flurry of questions of like, what's your favorite season? What's your do you prefer color or black and white? What's your favorite food? I don't think they ask what his favorite food is, but they ask him a lot of like horoscope questions. Like, I don't know, just like something you'd ask in a tween girl magazine or something. Like, what? I don't think they asked what his blood type is, but they asked what his astrological sign is, which was cool because he said Scorpio, and I'm Scorpio, so I'm like, yeah. But like, and it was fine in that capacity. But you could tell he was just not that interested in that. He's just like, I don't know, fucking, I drive my car and whatever. He was nice about it. But yeah, it wasn't until they actually. That lasted for like 3 minutes or something. It was kind of a long time. It was like, is this gonna have anything substantive to it? But it did. But that is when they actually get to like start editing footage into it. And dude, they just like spoil all of Rose of Versailles. And granted, he spoils Rose of Versailles in talking about it like a little bit at the end. But like they give all the major plot beats. And I did like that they only used footage pretty much, or like when it was when he was talking about his half of the show and everything, every time he was referring to him, it was episodes that he directed. It was from his half. But there was obviously like he was referencing the show as it was when he inherited it, and what the character designer Araki was doing with it. Like they would show like subsequent footage of that. Like that makes sense. I appreciated that. And there was some other kind of like fun little playful things, where there was a shot where it's like a shadowy shot, and it's just, you just see like an entryway from a tunnel, and you just see Oscar on a horse, and it's all backlit and everything, and so it's all silhouettes, and horse is moving. Like they showed that shot, it fades out, and then it comes back in, and it's the same shot like as a window, kind of like two of them right here, and then Dazaki's in the middle, like cut out in the same shot, and and I'm like, well, that's kind of playful, that's kind of fun. And then like when the clip was clearly done, because it only lasts like 3 seconds or something, it fades out, and then they just like zoom back in and like, yeah, that was fun while it lasted. The clip's done, and I'm like, I'm almost positive you could have looped that. If you wanted to like go for that, and I know I'm criticizing a fucking DVD, but this is because I've been making these. I'm like, if you could, that looks like a clip that you could loop. Like it's an animation loop. Like it would, if you edited it in just the right way and it cut it, you could repeat the animation. Why didn't, but I guess like in that instance, it's like, I don't know, but it was the integration of clips and visuals with Dazaki. They had like a lot of this soft black focus, so they could kind of move him around, and so they would have him like almost like a Let's Player, like in the corner, and the anime would be here. Like he's commenting on it, and like, well, he's not commenting on it. Like he's talking about the anime generally, but he's not talking about that particular scene or anything. And I'm like, what the heck? It was just really funny. And I mean, clearly, like this was, it looks like this was like, I have to check again, but like this was rendered. No, okay, so it was actually rendered. This is so weird. So like the export that Hayden put up is a 4:3. The interview looks like it's filmed in 16:9 or a little wider almost, weirdly. And so it's in like, it's letterboxed, and so and they're just like drifting around or anything like that. I'm just like clicking around here. It's just so weird. I don't get it. That being said, I think all of it seems pretty valuable. I liked his insights. Him talking about the period of time where he was not only directing but storyboarding pretty much everything. He said it was a 2 to 3 year period, starting with Nobody's Boy Remy. I'm like, bro, that wasn't 2 or 3. That was like 3 or 4. Dude, you were nuts. You did a fucking movie like that in the middle of that. And he's like, it was a lot of work, but I think that was my peak. I'm like, yeah, it was. I'm happy he realized that. But I also didn't even register that, because I knew he was like a very serial storyboarder. But him identifying, and I didn't even go back to his credits to look really, but him identifying that his golden era, that felt like a golden era to me, is correlated with the fact that he was storyboarding pretty much all of it, as well as directing. Whereas I guess his prior work with, because because if it's pre Nobody's Borigami, you have Gamba, which I don't think he storyboarded everything, maybe not. Ace, I don't know if he story. I actually don't really know those. But like he was like kind of in a, kind of a sporadic period, mostly doing just random episodes of stuff like of Bakuban and Manga Sekai and whatever. But yeah, like him identifying that period where I said it was his golden era was just really cool. I don't know, and things like that. But it goes to show I probably just didn't come across this, I guess, at the time that I made my video on him. But yeah, very, very insightful and nice. I'm happy Hayden uploaded it. Thank you. Anime Dormitory channel, I don't think I talked about, because I watched it, but I didn't think I talked about they have like a similar thumbnail here. So like this video is anime history, Wage Wars, and Ghibli's legacy, and then the previous video is like one of the most popular videos. It didn't blow up like crazy, but like it's a lot more views than their past couple of uploads, because it's about Mappa and JJK and everything. But like that one I didn't really have much to say about, or maybe I did and I don't remember, but I don't think I ended up talking about it because it was just it didn't feel like any new information necessarily. This one actually felt I never got this story about Miyazaki's journey with work conditions and everything like that in one timeline before, whereas like they're starting with them participating in the Toei animation strikes and the unionization and all that, but then following Miyazaki and Takahata's journey into hopping from multiple studios and then forming Ghibli in 85, but then with and in 89 the success of Kiki's delivery service allowed them to have this more sustainable, really healthy system with animation hiring and having in-house staff and everything. And they mention that like, yes, he has retired multiple times before, but 2013's Wind Rises was a lot more serious, not just with a bigger fanfare at the time, but because they also dissolved the system that they established in Kiki's. And a lot of people bleed out, and it's been said that that's kind of why you had this incredible boom of Your Name, Silent Voice, and In This Corner of the World in the same year of 2016, because of that outflux of talent from Ghibli in 2013 specifically, and like that 3-year period. That's when it resulted in these incredible movies in 16, and then he unretires in 17. It's like, oh yeah, but yeah, there was like a really cool timeline. I think my one irk or weirdness about it is that the entire video is just their avatar, like VTuber thing, on screen saying these things, and there's no visual aid. There's no sources. I don't really think there were even sources in the description, and so it's all like "Trust me, bro," as the Anime Dormitory channel, and I'm like, this sounds right. This does sound like logical. But it was uneasy for me because there's no where the source is. Come on. If you're going to make something, like obviously Anime Dormitory channel doesn't have to worry about sources for a lot of their other videos because it is just directly from their experience. I'm not like demanding sources from this channel usually that often. But with this one that felt a lot more historical and establishing a timeline like this that seems very comprehensive and meaningful, I was kind of like, where's the... and like, I don't know. But yeah, that was like one weird thing about it. It was definitely more of like an audio experience because there's really nothing happening visual wise. But I get why there's not much happening, because like you have to get clearance for just the visual image, just the photo rights of these creators. YouTubers don't worry about that, but they're trying to actually establish an actual animation studio here. And they're also a Japanese-based YouTube channel, which is way more stringent on that sort of thing. So it just makes... I'm not like looking for anime footage or anything like that. I get why their visual was limited there. But like, what are your sources? You don't have to get clearance. I hope you don't have to get clearance just to list sources. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Yeah, just the thing I was thinking of. Just like, yeah. I liked it though. It was very valuable, but it's just Glass Reflection had a discussion video determining the best anime by using numbers, and he was using a compendium of consortium. I don't know the word for consolidation. I want to use a C word that has something that sounds sophisticated, of data to determine this. Taking from Mal, from Wikipedia, from let's face. I'm not. You know what? I'm not gonna say it. We all know. Cat noise. That site, probably is what he's talking about. But all this data is compiled by Miles specifically, real kilometers. Formerly Crunchyroll, but I think he's Anime Limited or one of those. I don't know. But he's been doing this compiling, and it's not completely done yet, and he's publishing his findings, but he gave Tristan a advanced copy, I guess, about this season's most popular. It's a ranking list, and after I think the valuable part of the video was Tristan going through the data, and not just not the results, but like where it's coming from, like where is this pulling from, and discussing that and the aspects of popularity. But then when he actually gets to the list, I kind of got disappointed. It kind of fell apart for me, because he's just kind of talking about like it's fine to be surprised about, like, I'm surprised this got this low or whatever, but he really dwells on that, and it's just like, why is the show so popular? It's just fancy. It's bad, or I don't know. I was getting those vibes. I was just getting those, just like, I don't know. It didn't feel like any substantive thing of why this show, and not because of the genre. I don't know. Like, I feel like Tristan could have gone a step further beyond what Miles provided to him with this data, but he didn't. Tristan didn't provide. He didn't assemble this himself. He's just reacting to it. But like, I feel like he could have gone a little bit a step further of like, let's look at the studios, like the studio ratio. How many more from these popular ones are from the other ones? Is there any pattern there? Is there a pattern in the genre? Like you mentioned that, like, oh, this show's popular because of this and this genre, but like that's an isolated case. What about grand scheme of the season, I guess? Is there any just something male-led protagonist versus female-led protagonist? What's the balance there? Just like basic content indicators in these shows, and seeing if there's based in this way, because it's like, what's the point of determining the best anime, the most popular one? Like, what are we trying to get here? And at one point, Tristan does mention that he's kicking himself where one of these shows is actually super popular and he wasn't going to keep up with it or cover it because the last time he covered a show like this, nobody watched it. It wasn't as popular. But as a result of, because he's trying to make the anime YouTube thing a sustainable business, and he's trying to be talking about the popular stuff. It came across to me that way. Like, that's why you want to know this stuff, so that you as a professional anime critic, or I don't even know if you call yourself that. Like, what? I don't know, but like, to sustaining your own career is what it kind of came off to me as by the end of it. Of like, why is this interesting? Like, why should we know this? And I'm not trying to be cynical about that and be like, that's why he's a bad YouTuber. Like, no, that's smart. Like, that totally makes sense and is within your interests. I'm not trying to be like holier than thou about that. But I guess that rationale just prevented me from just like, that's probably why he didn't need to go that deep, or about like why it's more out of your own preservation than a genuine interest. Yeah, but there is an interest. Don't get me wrong. There has to be. Of course there is. But the balance of the two, right? And I'm not saying that this has to be pure. Like, you have to have. Yeah, sure. I don't know what I'm saying at this point, but this is something it came off to me as, I guess, not in a bad way. I noticed it. I guess. Yeah. I think it was interesting. I just feel it could have gone further, I guess. Right. And now when I thought about the best videos of the week, the way it's like, oh, I got the best videos of the week. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Chang, you should animate on paper. Yeah. This was great. They were getting to be kind of like similar videos for me with in terms of just like the format that he would have where it's a step-by-step kind of like going through it. But I'm happy this was like a new angle, and I don't know, just the idea of like seeing in action, like, yeah, you need this tool with a little bulb on it that you put the paper on, and that's how they keep the paper in the exact same place. And he doesn't say that outright, but like me seeing it in this regard, I was like, oh, like you always assume that or like take it for granted, but you really get to see this in a physical thing and seeing them animate on paper. And it's like, yeah, you can get these scanners or do it like this and use these apps, and you buy this, I recommend this. And so it's like, yeah, you could actually afford to animate on paper for this much money versus this much money for all this other stuff digitally. And I do wish he went a little deeper into what the disadvantages with drawing digitally, because he mentions like the digital only artists have this habit of just copy pasting a frame or something. I forget, like, because it's so easy they get to do the in-betweens themselves. I don't remember what like because he doesn't give any visuals or examples really. He just kind of says it as an offhand comment as he's like wrapping up visually, just like showing the stuff that he has to show. But some of that was like really fascinating. But really the value of this that put it over for me for best for me was just like seeing the notation of like, yeah, A1, we're gonna put a triangle here to show that it's just a reference. This isn't an individual drawing. This is just like to help with the in-between or something like that. And then like we're gonna make these markings here to designate this. And it was just making me think of like, I wonder like how long they've had these systems going, and the notation and stuff, and how that's been refined over the years. And you can see it it just kind of opened my mind a little bit into the world more of the industry. And it was really cool to see, and seeing it actually happen and take place. And yeah, his descriptions of like why he's choosing each frame to do it, like why he's doing this many frames, like, let's do it like this and everything as it's happening. It's great that he takes the time to do this as an animator in Japan, you know, as someone who's in the industry. Once again, it's like all the stuff I've talked about with his videos before. It's just really great that he's doing this. Yeah, especially in English. Yeah, you know, because you know, with the animation thing, all of this stuff is locked, a lot of it behind a language barrier. But yeah, it's fantastic. Really liked it a lot. Bonsai Pop's kind of annual anime's punk rock cartoons. I think this seems to be the, you know, you can't really call it volume 4. Not many people are going to click on that, you know, type of deal. His anime changed forever, and you know, it does come off as like old man yells at cloud type of video, and I'm like, but it's not that. He's just talking about how things are different, or you know, and its general state of the channel and his own their own experiences of like community and exploring the medium and burnout a little bit as well, which I was really happy to hear about that, because I just like hearing personal, like where YouTubers are at emotionally, right? Because time passes and a lot of us can be we don't check up on each other, you know. I certainly don't, because I'm not great at that. But yeah, hearing about this sort of thing is great. Yeah, and I only made it a couple minutes into the I felt really awful because I DM'd Mike of hey, you check out the live action, I thought it was really good, and then he makes the whole video that's like, it was crap, bro. I'm like, damn. It's a shame you didn't like it. I don't need to defend. I don't feel like any. I think you make a perfectly good argument for all of it. It was just, I liked it. You're gonna see it. It's like, it's just a little tease, like, because Yu Yu Hakusho exists, the manga exists, and all that exists. It was just like a nice supplementary thing for someone who doesn't want to. He's like, because I want to commit to the 112 episodes or whatever. Anyway, to defend myself. I don't know why I have to. I don't know. It's just on my mind. But I wanted to obviously talk about the first one because it was your first video back. But then I was like, I can't deal with I can't deal with the negative personally, as you know. Yeah, but yeah, I always really like the commentary here, and yeah, it was just like really nice thing to catch up on and listen to, and be nostalgic for other older videos, and even his own observations as a YouTuber of like everyone who was with me in 2014 and 15 who was making videos are not doing it anymore because they have these own prerogative and they can't keep up and whatever. So that awareness as well was really encouraging to hear, I guess, because I'm almost there. Like I'm a little younger than you in terms of YouTube, YouTube upload age. I started in 16, but that's coming on 8. But that's 8 years now. So it's, that's ancient for internet times. Anyway, yeah. But I just really liked hearing about this. It didn't feel super mean spirit or cynical doomsday-ish or whatever. Especially the sentiment that like this stuff still exists and everything. Yeah, it was all really great, and I'm looking forward to the videos you got in the works, whatever's up next. Danny's killing it once again with Should You Judge a Book by Its Cover? And I caught you at the end where you were like, can you judge? I mean, yeah, but I think it should be Should You Judge? I'm like, yeah, that's the title. Yeah. And your conclusions are great, where it's like, no, it's not, it doesn't have the correlation and everything, but I like that you broadened it out to with fiction and everything, and talking more about the Western sphere and feeling very up to date, or like really on the pulse of what people are talking about, and referencing the reactions on TikTok and consumer habits and the community that's around it and common complaints and everything like that, without giving any specific cases, like not making it about like whether someone thinks this or that cover is bad or not. You're just talking a lot more holistically, using so many examples and being so extra with your visuals. I can't believe how imaginative and creative your visuals are becoming. Like, obviously there's still the level of effort and complexity and work behind the visual, behind your editing, but I think this video, a lot more than the previous ones, the attention to color, composition, complementary visuals, beside, like, there's the book, but then there's what do you put around the book, and making each one feel like full. And there's some cute little tricks with because you had shown the books that your sister has and that you have, and putting them on the desk and then going like that, but so that you can just show them in a digital way, which is a little more easier to work with than kind of dim lighting or whatever, but you still wanted to show that you physically had them, which was great. All of that is just like really smart application. Yeah, God, it's such a beautiful video to watch, and the points. Again, I like that. In other cases, I feel like I would have preferred something where, like, take this example, or like, let's look at this here, or particular choices. But being general allowed you to be malleable with whatever book you wanted to show. You weren't chained to talking about just this book, especially just because, like, the concept is so fluid with different editions, but also different countries of origin. Yeah, and just all of that was very cohesive and comprehensive. Yeah, I think the subject was really cool, and I like that you didn't even make it like super big about, like, because this could have applied to movie posters or anime posters, or manga. You do bring up manga covers, but just for the utility of, like, yeah, sometimes they have different covers, but you really stuck to this niche of fiction literature, which is way more vital when the poster does not necessarily the poster of a movie doesn't, or a video game, that's still a visual medium. You know, like the poster is not everything. Whereas whereas for literature, it's way more vital of representing this title, because it's all words, and social media is a visual format, right? There's Twitter, there's Facebook, sure, there's text involved, but we are mostly consuming this stuff or learning more about these books, especially I love the consumer angle of like the being in a bookstore versus being online or whatever. It's all visual, so the visual is super crucial. And can you judge? Yes, which I agree. People still do, and it makes sense. But there's all these reasons why there's so much that goes into it, and it's still not going to be enough at the end of the day. You do have to look into it more. It's not just, and I like that you kind of entertain the argument without giving it any much of leeway, because the answer for those of us who know is obvious. But yeah, I really like the video a lot. Great job. Blown away. It really, it does. I've said it in other videos, but like it gets me, it does get me discouraged. But it's just like, what am I doing? It's like, fuck. But different talents is what it is. I watched both STEVEM videos that he put out this week. Yeah, I think it was both of them for this week. The Ava external media type of thing. And I didn't get a whole lot out of it, because it felt very like a list almost. But this was more, the Fooly Cooly one was more in the vein of his typical kind of like production history and construction of it, but also having more to do with like the purpose of it, like it's media thematic type of thing, diving into that a little bit more than just a pure clinical production history, which I liked. I really liked Gil's editing a lot. I think he sifted it. He really melted into STEVEM's format really, really well. It does help that STEVEM has since kind of streamlined his visual presentation, where it's a lot of him on screen, and then a good healthy portion of anime footage, but nothing super crazy in the ways of like the animatics or anything like that. A lot of it because he's built that cachet and has built that muscle so much, like he's, and honed that style that, I think it handing it off to an editor makes a lot of sense. And I think Gil adapts to it really, really well. He has a good humor to it. There's some cute little like sound effects, but it doesn't feel like it's pronounced or like over. I guess I've noticed there's sometimes when I've watched a YouTuber for a long time and then they hand their stuff off to an editor, it feels very pronounced, like the editor is their own character. And sometimes that works, and other times it's very obnoxious. Or it's like it feels very jarring and gets in the way of the reason I'm watching is the YouTuber, right? This one didn't feel like that at all. Like there's often times where I'd forget, because I was first introduced to this video because Gil put it on his Discord. He's like, I edited this. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I knew from the beginning, but there was parts where I completely forgot. So Gil just totally melted in. But I like that, STEVEM mentions him within the video, and that was a great moment. And he still makes his own presence while not getting in the way of STEVEM's style or what he's saying. Yeah, this is really, really great. And I just the Fooly Cooly stuff, I don't have as much of a connection to it. It's kind of similar to what it seems like STEVEM had with this, and I think he handles that like attachment really well in terms of like it's not going to be one of these videos or whatever, but we're going to talk about it in the way I'm good at type of deal, and framing it within the rest of the studio and anime's thing, and even applying his musical knowledge, like his niche with music, about pillows and their inspirations and stuff like that, and the things that they do is always really welcome, and it fits really well with Fooly Cooly. So yeah, it just like a no-brainer. Feels like a video he could have made at any point, and this is just like happy it exists. Yeah, it's great. And finally, I think we got best video week, of course, to APLattanzi, because he put out another anime video. Oh my god. It's Cell Animation Photography and Akira, episode 20 of the Index. And don't worry about that. There's no correlation of like episode 19 or like, oh, do I have to watch the other? Like, no. And and maybe that's why this sort of thing died and on YouTube around this, like around 2014, 15, whereas typical parts, like they did perfectly fine. Like you could sequential things, but you don't want to sequential things on YouTube titles anymore, apparently, because very clearly people will will not watch part 2 or 3 if they haven't seen 1. And I was just realizing it just now, it just sparked in me that maybe it's because around this time where this meta changed, mainstream media got very upset, very like caring and obsessed with continuity because of the Marvel stuff, I think. Because it's like, oh, I have to watch this series to watch this movie and then this other thing, and I have to watch it in this order or whatever. Like, I think that maybe they cared more about that. They've become more cognizant of that. Whereas, like, back in the day, we didn't care as much that, like, you're watching Goonies, or you're watching Gremlins. I don't think there's a Goonies 2. I don't actually know. But, like, you're watching Gremlins 2, and it's like, I haven't seen Gremlins 1. Yeah, fine. Oh, yeah, we're watching Lethal Weapon 3, and I haven't seen 1 or 2 yet. Have a good time. You're fine. Or like Mad Max, actually. Like Fury Road. Like, I didn't actually see I still haven't seen Road Warrior 2 or Thunderdome. I think those are the 3. And I love Mad Max. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. And it works with that instance, but yeah, anyway. It's kind of like that, I think. It feels like. Anyway, back to APLattanzi's video. The one thing I would say as a note, I think it could have been a little better if you put the kind of tangent rant about people still are misinterpreting or spreading misinformation about Akira. I think putting it at the end, or like switching your all the close-up examples you're showing of the thing, because it was weird. Like, you give this really interesting explanation of, like, yeah, it's like when you look at through a reflective like a see-through, like a reflective surface, not like a mirror, but like a window out of a train station, and like the dark parts are see-through, and this gets matted on. Like, the explanation was really interesting, and that worked really, really well. And I feel like that could have, I was then anticipating this is how it applies in Akira, and you're going through the different examples and stuff. But then you're like, God, I have to say it, and all of that's valuable. I'm not like, this shouldn't be in here or something. But like, I think not only would it flow well from that first part into the examples, but also it would make the misinformation part that much more empathetic. Like, the audience was like, oh my god, why would they say that? Now that they have the information that you've just described. Because you're like, this isn't how it is. And the audience is like, okay, I believe, sure. I'm not convinced of that because I haven't seen you give those examples yet. So I think if you did the, description, examples, tangent at the end, I think that would have been a far better flow. But at the end of the day, it's a nitpick because it was all great. I think every part was like really great that you brought that up and was level-headed. It wasn't cringe of like crying to the old man yells at cloud, whatever. And yeah, like, and then all the examples were like, I loved that you didn't be like, observe the Akira bike scene, or like, a famous scene everyone knows or whatever. The fact that it's like, the examples you chose demonstrate that it is everywhere in the film, including the parts that don't get put in the trailer, or everyone uses as like whatever. It's like, Akira, right? The one you had a couple of those, like you did talk about, like when they're going through in the bike scene, you're kind of showing that stuff. There's some parts like that, but I was more, as granular. I was more excited when you brought up examples like the blink and you miss it shot with this like jet engine or whatever. Little bits that I think as an audience member, we just kind of assume like, yeah, it's a jet engine. Yeah, it's a helicopter. Yeah. But like, they're not appreciating the level of detail that's being put in here that is contributing to the magnitude of this film. It's not just like in your face type of deal. Loved that, of course. Duh. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, but this was just really comprehensive, succinct, but not like over more than you can chew or whatever. It didn't feel like you had to go through every bit of the film or something. Unlike another, unlike a certain someone. Yeah. But yeah, I of course loved the video. everyone, please check it out. It's so valuable, good stuff. And APLattanzi doesn't make that much anime content in the grand scheme of things. He's not an anime YouTuber in the same way, which I love. Is another aspect where I'm just like happy with, because when it does happen, it's so good. But I really like his other stuff too. So please check his stuff out. He's been he was in the alpha. I was thinking about it the other day, like when I was filming Digest in my old room from my parents' house, and that was the room I literally grew up in. Like, I was in that room from first grade through college, actually. Yeah. So I could Digest alpha almost. He was there. He's one of those people who have constantly like, oh my god, this video, whatever. But I'm happy he's still making videos like this. It's just great. Yeah. That'll do it for this installment of AniTube Digest. Thank you very much for watching. You guys are great. You have a great week. I'll hopefully be there next week. Yo, peace.